Hello and welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie and I'd like to welcome you to a drawing lesson. This time we are using pen and ink and drawing a sunflower. People have been asking for a few of these pictures to actually be lessons. So here you go. This time what I'm going to do is a sunflower. And it's going to be a pretty detailed sunflower. I like to start off with a center, and this sunflower is not one of the giant seed type sunflowers. It's more like the teddy bear sunflower, the ones that have tons and tons of smaller petals, but they still have some shape. They're very spiky. And I'm going to do the first row of petals as a continuous line. You see where I'm just drawing out, going to a point. Some of them are longer, some of them are narrower. You could use this as a sun if you did it before you put any extra rows of petals on. Now the first row of petals is the only row that you can do as a continuous line. At least for me, that's all I have been able to figure out. But then it's easy to go back in and put in more petals. So between each of these petals, there's going to be one or two on this layer, just like that. And they're long, skinny V's, basically. And they wiggle. And when I have a big space like this, I'm going to make sure and put in a couple petals, because that way it feels more full and it doesn't feel like I'm trying to match all the way around. So just because there's a narrower space right here, I might do two skinnier petals like that, just filling it around. And it doesn't look as detailed yet. Really, this is about as detailed as you have to be if you wanted to use it like a coloring sheet. Just get your petals in and don't put any of the extra little texture lines on the flowers. I'm going to be adding some texture. And sometimes the petals sort of cross. And I might even put a couple more in here by just tucking them around. See, I'm making a line across that empty space, and it's going to come out on the other side and then go back, just like that. You start getting more details. You start getting more depth to the flower. There we go. And I like it when they are a little bit scragglier as you get back farther in the flower. These are the petals that had opened up first. So they're getting a little bit tighter now. How about this? They're getting a little bit more tired looking now. They get a little scraggly, a little bit more wilty as you go towards the back of the flower. And you could keep doing that and getting more and more and more detailed. I want to get just a couple more of those kind of scraggly ones, and maybe one that's tipping across. There we go. So now, closer to the flower, I'm going to put some tiny little petals, and they can cross over the lines. It just adds to some of the depth of these. Littler petals close to the center. giving a little more detail. Like I said, you can be as detailed or as not as you want to be. I am going to go ahead and put my detail lines in, and the first thing I want to do is I want to give sort of a cushiony look to the center. So I am dotting in, just dotting in, sort of a C shape or a U shape, or it could be an N shape, anything like that. And then I want to make that look like it's going in, so it will be darker. And I'm just tapping the pen up and down very carefully. I'm not pounding, because if you pound with your pen really hard, you'll mash the tip. And the tip, this is a 0.5 micron, so it's not the finest little tip, but it still can be mashed, and you can ruin your pen. So you want to be careful. I learned how to do stippling using my dad's set of drafting pens. So he had the Koh-i-Noor technical drawing pens that had these tubes that you filled up with ink. And then it had a piston that would go back and forth and force the ink down through this little tube with a tiny little wire that would direct the ink. And that is what I did most of my learning how to do pen and ink work with. So that was my favorite way of getting a picture in, was doing stippling. And I would do all kinds of wild creatures, completely done in stippling. Now, I am not going to do this flower completely in stippling, but I want you to see how effective that is for the center of a flower that's supposed to be textured. Now I'm going to go ahead and start putting in a few of the lines on my petals. And I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and just start putting this all the way around. We're going to do from the tip, pulling in towards the center. And these ones in the back, I'm going to just pull all the way down. The closer you put your lines, the darker the petal is going to look. So when you're doing things with lines, think about that. If you put your lines closer together, they look darker. If you keep them spread out, they're going to look lighter. You want to follow the shape of your outline for your petals so that they look like they belong. If you put your lines going across, it doesn't look right. They don't look like petals anymore. They just look like shapes that you drew stripes on. But if you follow the shape of your petal, you're going to get more of a petal shape. I know, that's kind of silly, but when you're talking and drawing at the same time, sometimes your brain just doesn't quite keep up with what you want to say. Like, I know what I want to talk about before I start, in theory. Now, I don't necessarily know all of my words I'm going to say. I don't script this. This is just me drawing and coloring and, having fun. If you're having fun with this, I hope that you will click that like button subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends, and let me know if there's more things that you would like to see me try drawing, and I will put it on my list and see if I can figure out how to do it. How's that? I love drawing. I love the designing of a piece. I did draw up some sunflowers. Here, I'll even show you. I drew some sunflowers to practice, but I didn't pre-draw this one. You saw me draw it right here. So it's still a brand new flower. Every flower you draw from scratch is a brand new flower. It does not really exist in real life. Even if you look at a picture, your flower is going to be different and unique and special. Okay, I need to quickly put some more petals in. So I will speed this up for just a minute to get around on all of these outside petals. All right, so we have half the flower done, and it's taken me 16 minutes total so far. I think that what I'm going to do, I want to show you that when you go in and you start darkening, you still don't want to scribble back and forth across unless you're just giving it a little bit of a line for shadow from the petal above. So right there, I just gave it a little bit of a line of shadow. So it might cross across the petals below. But you don't want to do too much crossing back and forth unless it's just to put shadow over those petals underneath. And you only want to do that close to a petal that's crossing over it. You know, you don't want to do that too far away. You don't want to come clear out here on the tip of this one going across to make a shadow when the petals are clear back here. I hope that's understandable. You want to make sure that where the petals are joining in down closer at the center, that you have put more shadow in, especially in around under those little petals, those little tiny ones there in the center. You want to make sure that they are right on top. And to show that, you would just make sure that the area around them is darker. It's still true, even in pen and ink, wherever there's a light, there's a dark. So if you want something to show up as lighter and closer to you, like this right here, there has to be something dark on either side of it to make that look like it's mounding up over. So wherever there's a light, there's a dark. I learned that from lots of people, but most recently I've been hearing Ginger Cook using that. She's a really cool acrylic painter who likes to paint paintings by old dead guys, as she puts it. So that's fun. Just get right down in there and get some shadows. All right, so to finish this, I am going to go ahead and put this in fast forward now and get all the rest of this flower inked in and finished off. And I'll be back in just a minute. Alright, so some final touches here. Just some, maybe one or two little lines going up in the middle of those tiny little petals, just barely touching, just to give it a little bit of an anchor. It makes it feel like they actually belong instead of just being open spaces. There you go. I hope you enjoyed this. Drawing a sunflower. Fun and easy. Just take it step by step. And all you need is a pen and a piece of paper. You could do this with a ballpoint pen. You could do it with the black pen. You can do it and then not put in all these lines and color it. You could put in all the lines and you could color it. Whatever makes you happy. I hope that you enjoyed this, that you click that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends, and make sure to leave me a comment and let me know if there's more things that you would like to see me teach how to draw, or if there's more things that you would like to just see me draw. Leave those suggestions down in the comment section. And as always, go out, do something creative, take care of yourself so you can take care of those around you. And I hope to see you back here really soon. Bye-bye.